editions ago, we did a variation of Bill Beck's green machine, and I thought I'd do another one of variation of Bill's flies again today. And I call it the Claret machine because again it's the same type of fly, a Zonka style fly, but obviously using Claret colours. Claret is one of those colours that just trout seem to find irresistible, and a lot of the flies I use are actually Claret in colour. Now, Hannock have actually brought out a new hook. It's called a H970BL. It's a streamer hook, and it's what they call the streamer wave. Now, we didn't use it last time on the green machine because actually this hook wasn't in production then. But I think if it had been in production then, I would have used this hook. It's very good for tying these Zonka style patterns and any of your whitebait patterns or smell patterns as well. So we start off with, in this case, it's a, as I said, the H970BL in a size 10. Claret thread, and just work that up and down the hook shank in the usual way. Then we're going to use this Glow Bright product, which is the fluorescent floss in the magenta colour. And we're going to tie that in for the butt. Now, the way I like to do that is to bring my thread up to within about 3 or 4 mil of the eye of the hook. Lash in some of the floss there, and then fold it over on itself and work back down. What that gives us is a nice even body, but at the same time also gives us a bit more volume. So as we get a bit more volume in that tag there, and just cut that off with about, that'll be about 8 mil. So quite a big prominent butt in this fly. Then we go in with some red medium wire. This will be then used to lash down the Zonka strip. So again, starting up near the eye of the hook and working down, because we want to again keep a nice even body underneath. Bit of wax, and then we're going to dub on our Claret seals fur. Now I like to dub this on fairly thickly because we're going to scruff this out later, and that just, the scruffing out gives a sense of animation and movement and life to the fly. So quite a decent amount of seals fur is going to go onto this. I guess you would say we dub it on generously. And just coming forward, trying to keep that fairly uniform. Okay, there's a little bit more. Coming forward, and just waste off a bit there, that's good. But again, not leaving a gap here, don't overcrowd that eye. That's a tendency that we all tend to do, is to run too far up. Now I'm using here a dark brown rabbit Zonka strip. Just clean off that top there. Tie that in there. Oh, come on. Get that well lashed in there. Okay, now this is where it gets a little bit tricky. So we've got our wire, we're going to go around the hook shank and then back, and then have the Zonka strip over the top. So we're ready now to start lashing in this Zonka strip. So what I like to do is to pull it forward over the top of the fur, and then use a dubbing needle to split it apart. So tie that first one in. Again, all the time making sure that the Zonka strip sits on top of the shank of the hook. Splitting it again, pull it through. one more on that. Coming back around, then we'll tie that in. Once we've got that tied in a bit, we can just break off that wire. Now we'll trim at the back here. Don't just go in and chop it off like that, because of course what you'll do is you'll cut off a lot of the hair, which is going to make up your tail. So tease it back a little bit, use your points of your scissors and cut in like so, and then I like to cut in on the other side as well. So as I've cut it to a little point. As you can see, that way we keep the length in the fly rather than just chopping it off. Then we've just got to finish off the head, stroke back those fibres. We'll finish that off with a whip finish tool. And the last little bit is you get your dubbing brush, or can also use strips of Velcro, and tease out that seal's fur. When it's quite shaggy. And then sort of stroke it back. And that gives that sense of life to the fly. Then the only last little bit is to put a little bit of head cement on the head of that fly. And there we have it. For want of a better word, the Claret machine. So it's a really good general searching style pattern. I use it off the bank, and I also use it in a team of pulling flies as well. But really, any of the lakes, you know, throughout the Western District of Victoria, up in the Snowy Mountains, or down in Tasmania, this fly works equally well in all those locations.
This film was proudly brought to you by The Fly Fisher in Melbourne and theflyfisher.com.au, where you'll find everything to tie the Claret machine and a whole lot more.